Right.
Brandon dressed up for today's GPS.
Yeah.
A nice little collared shirt.
Mm.
I have a hoodie that I just threw on.
It's cozy.
Perna, I got 9 hours of sleep last night. I haven't gotten 9 hours of sleep probably since October.
Wow.
And it was so nice.
Oh, I bet.
It was so
nice. Where's my intro? Oh my God. I tried to do two things and I messed it up.
Just gonna go back to sleep now with my hoodie. We here.
We steer.
You in the right direction. Welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. This is GPS. There's that focus. There's that legendary Brandon Perna focus right there. Yep. Hold on. The light that's coming from this light is reflecting off my large forehead. I'm going to turn on the lights real quick. How about them Colts dismantling the Pittsburgh Steelers? Oh, we got a lot of games that we going to talk about today. Rand, did you set it up? Did you fix it? Did you do it?
Wow.
Did you live it? Did you love it? Still, a jacket is nice. It is a nice jacket. It is a nice jacket.
Oh, there we go. Thank God. Okay.
You did it?
Woo.
You good? Fixed it?
So I went live on Instagram, Tom. I put GPS live on Instagram.
Uh-huh.
And there's like a little live
Exactly.
section you got to do. It's a little weird. And then it started playing, but it would not, there's no button there to mute the sound. So I was getting two sound. I was getting you talking here and then you talking there. And it took me, I had to go into the tab in Google Chrome and mute the website. So that was dicey. I'm back. I'm ready now.
Now we're ready. Now we're ready to rock. Yeah, cool. Commander, it's almost over. It's almost over. Listen, all of clickbait lost, GPS lost. It was a rough weekend for us. It was a rough time.
Was the last clickbait episode the one where we said all of our teams won?
It wasn't the last one. It was like, I think it was like 2 or 3 episodes
Was that 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't last long then, huh?
No, it did not. No, it did not at all. So that's a little problematic. Buffalo absolutely crushing Detroit, rolling the Broncos, the Buccaneers rolling the Packers, and the Ravens, God, doing whatever the hell they did to the Jaguars. But also, Trevor Lawrence is in concussion protocol because like he got hit hard, and it's like, all right, does that maybe explain a few things? It's possibly. Just...
Says the hit happened late in the fourth quarter, so I'm not going to give Trevor Lawrence a pass for some of the dumb things he did in the first half of that football game.
Ad blocker. Just use an ad blocker. It's okay. You can get around YouTube's ad blocker. Just do it. Just do it. Anyway, continue.
Oh,
yeah. Guillermo had a nice week. Thursday feels like so long ago.
Oh, my God,
that they scored 63 freaking points.
Yeah.
And Chargers fans are like, oh, God, and now we get to play the Bills. But Brandon Staley's gone. And theoretically, the Chargers are not eliminated from the postseason.
They still got hope.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's only a few. The Jets have no more hope.
No.
That's it. No, hope it don't. We need a ton of it. But no, it's gone. It's gone. Mitchell, Dallas, excuse me. Yes, Detroit wound up kicking ass. Yes.
Here, let me bring up the playoff picture.
Yeah, Mitchell out for the season. That just sucks, man.
Who's Buffalo out? Yeah. Dude, okay, so we were streaming that game, and it derailed a little bit because Jess came in. We didn't even see what happened to his knee on that play, but it went backwards. His knee went the wrong way. Because we were like, oh, he's walking, he walked off the field. They're like, okay, so maybe he's all right. But then I saw the replay of that injury later. I was like, oh, dear God, he is not okay.
No. And you know what? It's crazy because like the Ravens, they're celebrating because of course like they've clinched a playoff spot now. But yeah, like Keaton Mitchell, dude, like who's been having a great season. He's kind of just been like that other guy, besides Gus the Bus, and seems like the more explosive running back too. And just to see him lose it, and with 3 games left in the regular season, it just sucks, man.
Yeah,
it sucks.
So we titled this episode "Who is Losing Hope?"
Let's go, Yankees.
All these guys are clinched. Eagles, we'll see what happens tonight. But if you're a Cowboys fan and you are feeling good about going into the playoffs, you're not today.
No.
You are not. You are losing hope. Dak's MVP race is losing hope. But this is where it ggets crazy.
Dude, the AFC alone, like if you just compare, right, the NFC and AFC, look, it's like 7-7, 6-7. They're losing records. And the AFC is like, oh no, these are winning football teams. Could we? Sure. I don't know if we should, but yeah. As long as it's not Joe Barry.
Couple teams. And the Broncos, we're losing hope.
Hey, look at us, buddy. Look at us.
We're both
at
right
11.
Together.
There we go. Now, because I'm in the conference that's awful, there's still a shot. The Packers, if they win out, still have like a 90-something% chance of making the postseason, which is just dumb. But yeah, AFC South is absolutely bonkers. You have the Jaguars, the Texans, and the Colts just tied. And then the Titans are hanging out going, cool.
Yeah, like think about this too, because we were talking about the AFC North is possibly having 3, maybe all 4 teams in the playoffs early in the season, right?
Yeah.
And now out of nowhere, the AFC South could have 2 teams in, maybe even 3. Depends on how the rest of this season goes. Maybe Wednesday we should do like how each team can get into the playoffs and look at all those scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
But we're in the Broncos and Packers are in the exact same spot, because if the Broncos win out, they still have like a 80 plus or 90 plus % to make the playoffs. And that is only because so many of these bubble teams play each other, right? Like, I think the Bengals and Steelers, do they still have a game? Or the Browns and Steelers?
The AFC North,
Colts
they got
Texans
some more.
Are going to play.
But dude, like even in the NFC South, right? Like we could theoretically see 2 teams from the NFC South, the garbage division, getting into the postseason.
That would be a tragedy.
If the Falcons won yesterday against the Panthers, which I can't believe they didn't, this would be even crazier than it is right now.
I feel comfortable saying that the Falcons will not get in. I feel comfortable saying that.
I think so.
The Vikings are such an interesting team. They're going with Nick Mullins again. I feel like the Vikings will not make it. They're not going to
play the Lions, the Packers, and then the Lions again. Yeah. So
Packers, Seahawks, Saints, Rams. I like all of those teams to actually make it in, but dear God.
Yes, I am. I'm only doing 1 game on Christmas though, because that's going to be the night game, which is first of all, Christmas is a week from today, which is insane.
Yeah, that's very.
But
insane.
2, because the 2 number 1 seeds facing off Monday Night Football, Christmas night. Yeah, Ravens 40. That's going to be a fun game, because the Ravens last night, I think that first half was more the Jaguars just shooting themselves in the foot, missed field goals, just missed opportunities. They ran out of time at the end. And now it's kind of like, all right, the Ravens then just were fine in that second half. Like they didn't have to really have any stress. The 49ers, like it was actually a pretty close game. Hopefully, Outlaw. It was a close game for a little bit. And then the 49ers were like, okay, now it's time to like stop playing with our food. And CMC and Brock Purdy were just godly. So no, Sean, no. Stop it.
Wow. They want your Christmas ruined, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty mean. It's pretty mean, Sean. It's pretty harsh. Yeah, if the Packers lose to the Panthers on Christmas Eve, Christmas is canceled. I just want to I will make sure Christmas is canceled for everyone. That includes
canceling Santa Claus's birthday. Let's do it, Packers fans.
No, it'd be gone. But Yeah, no, Ravens were absolutely fine last night. Lamar was making insane like throws. Just dude, he was like embarrassing that defense at times. Like the way that he's able to escape pressure is truly insane. Like the way he uses his feet and like he's ducking defenders, they're flying over up top. It's nuts, dude. It's nuts.
Lamar was fun to watch.
It is a banger.
He is on pace for like 3,700 passing yards and 900 rushing yards.
It's pretty nuts.
Yeah. And I think it's one of those weird stats. It's like no QB's ever had 3,700 passing yards and 900 rushing yards.
Yep. It's true.
But
it's true.
He's just having like quietly a very nice season. But like the Ravens are really good because of their defense, honestly.
See, if I'm the Lions next week, I don't even care about clinching the playoff spot. Next week, you beat the Vikings, you clinch the division for the first time ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Last time we won, it was the NFC Central. Like, that's the only thing. I don't even care. Like, Eagles win, Seahawks, who cares? It's just like you have a chance to win the division. I'm going to just say this to Lions fans. Guys, you earned it this season, right? Now, there's some ups and downs, but enjoy it. Because it literally, that's the banner that you're going to hang. That's the banner you've been trying to get all season for years now. Enjoy it. It's well earned. It's well earned. Give them that.
Lions, like we talked about, I don't know, about midway through the season. It is whichever team starts playing their best football now. And the Lions this weekend played some of their best football. They've played in, I would say, like a month. Maybe the Broncos are a bit of a pretender, but Lions, if you get hot right now, it's not just that you're getting into the playoffs for the first time and, you know, whatever. Is the Lions might be really good in the playoffs. And we just saw the Cowboys get their ass kicked. Who knows what happens with the Eagles, but they're coming off a horrible loss to the Cowboys. So if either of those teams kind of start, you don't need both of those teams to suck heading into the playoffs, but if one of those teams starts playing poorly, and Detroit, I feel like, and it's just because the Lions just worked the Broncos so relentlessly, I just feel like the Lions are going to be in the championship game at this point. Ooh. Lions, Niners championship game is what I feel like we're about to see.
Well, what's interesting too is like we still have to see like Lions Cowboys. Like we're gonna find out a lot about the Cowboys still. Like we talked about this stretch, right? This like remaining schedule. We're gonna find out a lot. They worked the Eagles and we're like, oh, okay. And then they got worked by the Bills. And now they still got the Dolphins they gotta play. They still got the Lions that they gotta play. Like those games are gonna be really interesting to see. And I know Cowboys fans are like, hey, we made the postseason, like it's all good. But you do have to have some concerns because the Bills right now, I mean, I know Rich Eisen's been talking about this a lot. He's been talking about this for a couple of weeks about how dangerous this Bills team can be. Ever since Ken Dorsey got let go, they have just been on fire. And yesterday was all about James Cook. Josh Allen didn't have to do diddly squat. Yeah. He even said, he's like, I feel like the kid who got an A in the group project didn't have to do anything, right?
Yeah.
They worked the Cowboys so well in the pouring rain, and it's kind of been what Bills fans, or at least what I have been screaming about, of just utilize Cook, utilize the run game. And this was even like when Devin Singletary was there, right? And like he's like having like those nice games. You're like, yes, because you need to break it up. And look at the success that they had. And yes, that was an amazing catch. Amazing catch.
And, you know, by the way, Devin Singletary had 121 rushing yards for the Texans this week. So had they been able to keep Singletary and Cook, you know, they would have a nice little two-headed monster back there. But we've been waiting for the Buffalo Bills to show that their offense can beat you in a different way, that it doesn't have to be only Josh Allen doing it, right? And with the way they had a Cook involved in that game, they showed they could do it. And what that does to a defense, it makes the defense have to prepare for the Bills in a different way, which should in turn open shit back up for Josh Allen in the passing game. It should make him a more effective passer when they really need him to be, you know, down the stretch here. their defense has been very good all season. And that's kind of
Yes.
gotten lost, I feel like, in their losses. It's their game. They haven't been getting blown out. The games have been close. It's just been like that Broncos game is the perfect example. It was an ugly game that they should have 100% should have won, but they had the 12 men on the field, right?
Yep.
So if they can just get in, they're
going to be hot,
shaping themselves up to be a dangerous playoff team.
I think they're the second best team in the AFC right now.
Over the Chiefs?
Yeah. No, I picked the Bills beat the Chiefs.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think you have the Ravens, and then I think you have the Bills in the AFC. Just the way they've been playing and the quality of the opponents that they've been playing. Yeah, I think so.
It's the Ravens in the field, and the Ravens aren't that much above the field.
They're not,
the AFC.
Because you don't know what Ravens team is going to show up. Like that is also the Ravens have gotten some like really good like gutsy wins. Like that Rams win was really big. Yeah. But yeah, no, I completely agree. And by the way, yeah, you cursed Steph Curry last night. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Like I saw all those tweets of just being like, I don't know what happened with Steph Curry, just having like the worst game. Yep, it's Brandon Perna. That's easy. Football fans know. GPS fans know. They're like, oh yeah, we know. That's why.
Yeah. So Underdog Fantasy sponsoring today's show, guys. Use our code GPS when you sign up there. We got a link in the description. We'll match your first deposit up to $100. So last night I was setting a pick 'em for the game.
Yep.
But Underdog for some reason, state of Colorado is being a little wonky, and I couldn't add multiple players from the same team in my pick 'em. So I had to go and add some extra players, and it was late in the evening, so there weren't that many guys available. Steph Curry was in there. I was like, oh yeah, that's easy. Let me take Steph Curry. And apparently he just had a terrible basketball game. Why? Because I put him in my pick 'em. So sorry, Steph. I am very sorry.
Not often, Josh. Not often. And I'm sorry. I think the move to going to Matt Patricia to DC like was met with a collective like, oh no. Like you had Lions fans, you had Patriots fans just being like, no, you're going the wrong way. But then the Lions being like, wait a minute, this could actually help us. Okay, never mind. Keep going.
Yeah. Keep going. Lions fans seeing Eagles elevate Matt Patricia are like, yes, please do it.
Yeah, I don't think San Fran's losing 2 of their last games. I mean, potentially the Ravens, the Rams might give them some problems at that last week, but yeah, I don't know. And then Philadelphia, like, dude, they're playing the Seahawks tonight. Like, that's their toughest game left. They're playing the Giants twice. You know, like I don't think that's gonna be too bad. But the Lions, they don't got nothing to worry about.
Yeah. So also on Underdog, don't forget they got fantasy games. Okay, look at this Christmas coin toss. What's the Christmas coin toss? $5 entry.
Just kind of
$20,000 to first place. I better enter that. Yeah, baby. All right. 4-person draft. Oh, this is sexy. All right. So you're going to be playing against the field in this 4-person draft. Christian McCaffrey, number 1. That makes a lot of sense because I don't know if anybody's more reliable than Run CMC right now. Oh, I got the first pick too. Oh, it's Christian McCaffrey season in my house.
Going against Baltimore, that's going to be a tough defense.
I don't care.
Okay, that's fair. I don't think they got smoked, but good God, that game was insane. And it was typical Oilers fashion. So a homage, if you will, to their storied past.
All right. He will be the first guy I take. Easy money. So, again, sign up with our code GPS. If you don't, Underdog don't know we're working, and they'll never talk to us again.
Working and twerking.
They said if somebody doesn't use your code today, Perna, we will never talk to you again, you loser. They didn't say loser, but I think maybe they'll talk to us again, Tom. Just drafted Run CMC. All right.
It could be a Super Bowl preview. Yes, Ravens 49ers. It definitely could.
Easily.
That's why I'm so excited for that game.
You know, that's tough too because I do not want to see a 49ers Ravens Super Bowl only because we saw that already. You know what I mean? And it was It's been a few years. It's been a few years. But I just want a different matchup. This is not a knock on the 49ers, not a knock on the Ravens. I just don't want to see those two teams both in the Super Bowl.
That's fair. I think
Although the Ravens might match up with them nicely. We'll see.
Partner, you got a fitty.
Oh, Drew. Love the show, guys. That being said, I'd like to know which team is going all the way this time.
I got you. I got you, Drew.
No, it's the Bills! Buffalo all the way this time!
The thing is, like, I am rooting for the Bills so hard to make the postseason. I'm rooting for them so hard to make the postseason. Just because they just seem like that team that is getting super hot at the perfect time. And like you mentioned, like the Broncos games, if like one of those games go a different way, we're talking about the Bills of like, oh, when they make the postseason, it's going to be a nightmare for other teams. But like they will have run the gauntlet if they're able to make it. And then playing the Dolphins last week of the season, dude, it could be for the division. We'll see what the Dolphins do. They worked the Jets yesterday. We'll talk about that too. We'll kind of go through each game. But the Bills are just, I'm really high on them because they're just playing good, complementary football. The defense is looking good. The run game was phenomenal. Cook is great, even in the receiving game. And I'm not even talking about yesterday. He was good too. But like last week, he was really good too. So it's just that.
And they got who do they play next? So they play the Chargers. Oh yeah, Bills are gonna look real good next week.
Dude, I'm sorry, if the Bills lose to the Chargers because Brandon Staley is gone after they just got 63 points, then I'm gonna be like, all right, I truly just don't understand the NFL anymore. I'm done. Yeah, you have to be because the Ravens, you just don't know what team's gonna show up. That's it. Thank you. Yeah, we could talk about the Green Bay Packers. They got their ass kicked by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it wasn't the offense. Jordan Love, every week, I'm feeling a little bit better. Last week was a little rough. Kind of came alive in the fourth quarter. Led that go-ahead drive. Scored the touchdown with Malik Heath. And Jordan Love was pretty damn good this yesterday. It's just the defense is so bad. The secondary is brutal. Joe Barry is awful, and I'm just done. Dude, I'm tired, man.
My guy, Gareth Reynolds, on Twitter.
Yes.
Fire Joe Barry. He's tweeting out, too. Like,
yes.
I was working on winners and losers this morning, and I went to see if I could, like, just see a quick, like, Joe Barry Packers defense stat up on Twitter. You know, there's always, like, something interesting. So I just typed in Joe Barry on Twitter. There was no stats. No. It was just a stream of memes to fire Joe Barry. I was like, oh, man. Oh, Packers fans are not happy today.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, I legitimately think we're going to start to see, like, fire Joe Barry chants. And if the Packers somehow make the playoffs, because their last 3 games, they got the Panthers this week, then they have the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday Night Football, and then they got the Chicago Bears. So it is possible that they win out. They got to rely on some other teams now. But, dude, it's just embarrassing. Like, Baker Mayfield, we talk about that stat now that's flying over. The only opposing QB to have a perfect passer rating in Lambeau. Baker came in and lit it up. And he didn't even have to do that many crazy things because it was just like, here you go. And I'm not trying to knock on Baker or anything like that because Godwin worked us. Everybody worked us. Because there was just like, hey, we're just going to play like, 9-10 yards off the receiver. We're just going to leave these zones wide open. It's so frustrating to watch. And again, it's every year. Every year. No, we found the pancreas. It was horrible. They did whatever the hell they wanted yesterday, and it was embarrassing. And Rachaad White could have had a touchdown at the end, but he decided to slide. So it could have been even worse. It just sucks, dude, because you have a 3-game stretch. You beat the Chargers, which back then looked a little bit more impressive. You beat the Lions on Thanksgiving. You beat the Chiefs back to back to back. And you're like, damn, okay, we have the Giants, Buccaneers, we have the Panthers, the Vikings, and the Bears. We're going to run the table. Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Dude, our teams did the exact same thing to us.
Yep.
Beat the Chiefs in our win streak. Beat the Bills. had the Texans on the ropes. Couldn't put the Texans away.
Nope.
Come in, tough game against Detroit, and now our playoff chances are mostly out of our hands. So, yeah, it's frustrating. And it's frustrating when the team that you should be competitive with, even like if you guys went toe-to-toe with the Bucs and just kind of lost a close one, you guys would feel better about it.
Exactly, because
it's
the Bucs
the way
are a solid
Tampa
football
beat
team.
you, it's the way Detroit beat Denver that gives me like no hope and no confidence.
That's what Perna did. Perna did that. He ended his 200-plus game streak of making at least 1-3.
Oh,
Perna.
Dang! It was that bad for Steph Curry.
Yeah. That's a great pull. That's a great pull. That's a deep cut. Final Destination 3.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's jump into some of these games and kind of talk about it because we haven't gotten into it. Dude, the Vikings-Bengals game, T. Higgins it was mentioned before, like one of the greatest catches I've seen this season. Just the effort too. And it feels like T. Higgins every now and then just reminds me like, hey, yeah, I'm on this team too. Like I know it's Jamar Chase and like Tyler Boyd gets a lot of looks. And I hope wherever T. Higgins goes, because I don't think he's going to be on the Bengals next year, I hope he has a chance to be like a wide receiver one. You know, because like he is a pretty damn good player. And I think that gets lost.
I think the Bengals can win a Super Bowl with Jake Browning.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jake Browning can lead the Bengals to a Super Bowl.
Ooh. Hates the Vikings, and I love that. It's.
I don't want Jake Browning to because I will take Jake Browning on the Broncos roster. I think he's a gamer. I think he's got the clutch gene. 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter for the Bengals. All right. Yeah. They were getting worked by the Vikings. The Vikings defense was smothering them. They couldn't get anything going. 3 points in the first 3 quarters, 21 in that fourth quarter. And Jake Browning fucking hates the Vikings. We learned that. Oh boy, they cut him and he didn't like the way they cut him. And so he got vengeance on him. I like that. I like that fire in your quarterback. I don't want him to go to the Super Bowl because then he's going to become a very, very hot free agent commodity.
Mm-hmm.
And I want him a little bit under the radar still. And I want the Broncos to go out and get Jake Browning. And I want them to get T. Higgins. I want them both.
Wait, do you want Jake Browning instead of Russell Wilson? Or as a backup?
If Russ, if you're watching, please turn off the stream. 1, 2, 3. Yes. I would absolutely take Jake Browning over Russell Wilson right now.
So that's where we are right now.
Yeah. Wouldn't even think about it.
We'll talk about Tristan. First half was close.
Russ is aight. Russ is playing aight. But I'm tired of watching the limitations. I'm tired of being frustrated. And I just don't think Russ and Sean Payton are the right fit. And I think Jake Browning would fit Sean Payton.
Does Sean Payton, like, I know we joke about it, but this is kind of real. Do you think he hates Russell Wilson?
No, I don't think he does. I think deep down, he absolutely 100% does not like Russell Wilson. I don't think. I know he does deep down.
Okay.
I looked into his soul. Deep down in his soul, he's like, I think he's on the fence about Drew Brees still, honestly.
Once Drew left, he's like, you know what? Never really liked that guy.
I don't think Sean Payton hates Russell Wilson. Like, I don't think Sean Payton would hang out with Russ. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, apparently nobody on the team does.
All Sean Payton cares about is playing football the right way, playing it the way he wants you to. And I don't know if Russ does that enough. You know what I mean? I think it's more about like he needs Russell Wilson to be a certain type of quarterback to really make the offense work at 100%, to work at peak. And Russ can have the offense working about 80%, at 80% power.
That's fair.
You know, and there's all you got to do is play football the right way for Sean Payton, because he's had enough success. He's kind of a prick. Like, he's just kind of a prick. He handles the media in that way.
He does.
And at first I didn't like it, but now as the season kind of goes on, I kind of like the sassiness from Sean Payton. So I really do think it's all about football. I don't think he cares about the personality so much. He can if you're winning, you're going to be cool. But if you're not, and you're not doing what he wants, then you're going to be in his doghouse, and it's not a fun place to be.
No. Like, dude, like legitimately, when that happened, they show the sideline screaming at Wilson. I was like, what did he do?
Yeah.
I was like, what did he do? Like,
Yeah,
he
and
wasn't
that's
offsides. Like, what did he do? That's true, Saul. That is very
No, it's easy to like put the blame on Russ, and he always takes more blame than he deserves. But it's just they just don't feel like the right marriage. That's all it is.
I agree with that. But I think, coming in, Peyton also had this perception of Russ and the Broncos. And the only reason I think that is because he said it. Because he literally was just like, they try to win the offseason, doing all this crap. And he literally was like calling it crap. And he's like, this is garbage. It's not how it's going to be. I think it's a very like, we're going to cut the nonsense and you're going to do how, like, I'm going to take over this team. Like, it's not going to be about the quarterback. It's not even going to be about the GM anymore. It's about me. Like, we are going to run this team the way I want it to be run. And that's kind of what you got Sean Payton for.
Yeah. Well, Russ had a great marriage with Pete Carroll. Okay.
Yes.
But then it came to an end. Second marriage with Nathaniel Hackett was just a disaster. It was just they're two nice people, but together in the same house for that long. And now he's on his third marriage with Sean Payton, and they're succeeding more, but I don't think it's like a happy marriage, you know? I think Russ wants to go back. He's thinking of Pete Carroll a little bit differently now. He's thinking about that his time in Seattle a little differently.
Maybe it wasn't so bad. I don't think Rodgers got benched when he was like the full-time starter, and if it did, it happened maybe once. But yeah, no. I mean, Sam Howell. I like Sam Howell. I think he's in a tough situation, to be honest, because this is a transition year for them anyway.
Yeah,
they don't really have the defense anymore, and while they do have some weapons in the offense, it's tough times over there. I'm not saying that Howell is the guy, but I think it's way too early. I think he's shown enough promise to give him a little bit more grace, if you will.
Sam Howell might just be a victim, though, of circumstance.
Very true.
Because Washington is going to be in a spot where they could possibly draft a quarterback, right?
Yep.
Right now, they've got the 4th overall pick. If they continue to lose and Arizona and New England maybe win a game or something, maybe they're sitting at the 3rd pick. I don't know exactly how it shakes out. 5-game losing streak for the Commanders.
Can I just say something real quick, Brandon? Real quick. Also, cool. Yeah, I know. This is why I had such a problem with him being signed. And I was like, oh, maybe he'll make our linebackers better. In the beginning of the season, I had the Washington Commanders, I think, as the 5th worst team. And I got some crap over that. I was just like, I just don't think they're going to be very good. They'll win some games. I'm just saying. I just want that same energy, baby. I want that same energy. I also said I thought the Packers could win 10 games, and we were close to that. But hey, they might win 9. They could.
Yeah.
Just saying. That could happen.
But
10-17 is going to miss the playoffs.
If Washington's in a spot to draft a QB, I think they're just going to do it.
I agree.
There's a couple good quarterbacks they can grab right there.
Doing God's work.
Oh my God. What they do. See, it's like they're getting rid of Rivera, right? So are they going out and finding a different coach? Or are they going to elevate a guy like Eric Bieniemy? I feel like they're going to blow it all up. I feel like Bieniemy is going to get screwed out of an opportunity that maybe he should have had, but Washington's like, no, nothing's working here. We got new ownership. We're making sweeping changes. But a guy that would be fun to see with Eric Bieniemy is Jaden Daniels, in my opinion, out of LSU, which would probably be available for them in that spot. But now the Bears could the Bears could make the draft really interesting if they let somebody trade into their spot if they decide they don't want a quarterback. But
yeah,
we'll get into that more later. But Washington, yeah, they dead. They are so dead.
Well, because Arizona, I mean, right now where they're at, I still think they're going to roll with Kyler Murray. I think they're going to, unless these last 3 games go so poorly. Because again, for a little bit, they were hanging in with the 49ers. I just feel like that team, they need a lot of talent. There's some gaps on that team. But I feel like Arizona's going to stick with it. New England needs a QB. Washington potentially. Chicago, we're still out on. Jets, I don't think will pull the trigger. They're just going to go even further in on Aaron Rodgers and pray they win. Giants could potentially, depending on what happens with DeVito.
Here's a sexy question for you, Tom.
Ooh, there you go.
Here's a real sexy question.
Give it to me.
Justin Fields or Kyler Murray? Both are available for trade.
Yeah.
Who are you taking if you're a GM?
Jesus. I feel like that's so dependent on the team because I feel like if you're in a win now position, you get Kyler Murray because I think you know what you have in Kyler. So the only way you're trading for him is you know his skill set, you know his ceiling, you know where he's going to be, and you still think that you could win with him, right? Like I think, and this might be like the hottest of hot takes, I think like a Kyler Murray on the Saints would be really interesting.
Ooh.
Like that could be like an interesting little thing. But I think Justin Fields you trade for if you want still that. I guess that there's a potential of like a little bit of a higher ceiling. Because again, I think it's kind of a little bit more locked in where you know where Kyler Murray is more of a vet. Justin Fields, I feel like that's like, all right, you're trading for him because you believe what he could be.
Yeah. I think I go with Fields. I think I go with Fields for one reason and one reason only. He's 6'3". I'm watching Russ struggle at age 34 because he's a little bit height challenged. Middle of the field is not part of the field he likes to get the ball to. And I think it's honestly just because it's a little bit hard for him to kind of see there. So I'm going Justin Fields because he's 6'3". Also, did Big Bob Tunyon go to Chicago just to sabotage him?
I think Luke Getsy did the same exact thing. So that's what you know what? Good. And I mean this it with my chest. Good. You take all our players, you take our coordinators, like, watch out, we got Luke Getsy. Good. You happy now? Are you happy now, Chicago?
That drop by Tunyon is horrible. Like that's an amazing throw by Justin Fields. And like people are going to forget that, you know, that game ended not the way the Bears wanted it to, and they should have won. And that play is the reason why. That play, he hit his guy, his tight end wide open, deep, would have been a touchdown, just in and out of big Bobby Tree's hands.
Roberto Grande. Perna got a fitting.
Oh, I know what you want, and you going to get it. You going to straight up get it.
Wear a diaper.
Rah, 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 rah.
Wear a diaper.
Rah, 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 rah.
Wear a diaper.
Rah, 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 rah.
Wear a diaper.
Rah, 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 rah. Sean Payton just had the Danger Witch because it was being like advertised so much, and then he's like, this is not that great. That's it. Trey McBride's coming along well. Let's talk about some other games besides that one.
Colorado State's own Trey McBride. The man's so nice, they married him 3 times.
The Colts, they work the Steelers. The Steelers need Kenny Pickett back. They did. They all lost. They need Kenny Pickett back badly. And just like Mitch Trubisky's not the guy. He's never was going to be the guy in Pittsburgh. But dude, like it was pretty rough to watch. You know, and that dude, thank God Michael Pittman's okay. That hit. Minshew, that was a bad ball by Minshew. Like that was a put him in the hospital ball. Like that was But Kazi got ejected for that hit too.
Yeah. And those are the hits the NFL doesn't want. And I get that and I agree with it. And it's the other hits that aren't that egregious that get, you know, flagged that we've had a problem with and talked about all season. But that was the correct call. And the Steelers now, it's not just Pickett, right? Because Minka Fitzpatrick banged up. Like they're losing players on the defensive side of the ball. Kazi was out of that game. I think another safety got hurt late in that game too. The Steelers, they had their opportunity, and it just feels like they are also losing hope. It's slipping away. It's slipping away from them. Their chances getting to the playoffs. And yeah, when does Pickett come back? Could it be this week?
I think theoretically it could, but I mean, you talk about the Steelers, and I know there's like a lot to talk about, like Mike Tomlin and his future with Pittsburgh, but
I would tell Steelers fans to chill the fuck out. Chill. You've never dealt with a bad head coach, and Tomlin ain't it, guys. Tomlin is not a bad coach.
Here's the thing.
Spoiled little brats. How dare you?
I don't know. It's been a while, though. It's been a while.
Tomlin. Yeah, get rid of him, Pittsburgh. Fire him. See where you're at after that. Pittsburgh. Sports fans. They'll turn on you in a second.
That's accurate. See, Perna, I 100% agree with you. However, I think there is a caveat because the Packers went through the same exact thing with Mike McCarthy. Like, Mike McCarthy, I think, is a good coach. And I think it's just when you spend so much time with a team, dude, there's no way.
No, there's a huge difference. There's one huge difference. McCarthy still had Aaron Rodgers there.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tomlin's got Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph.
But it's the level of competition because the thing that the Steelers have been hanging their hat on, right? Oh, we're finishing above 500. But that's all they're doing. They're going into the postseason. Maybe they get into the wild card and they're getting their ass kicked.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you one thing.
I can understand it just feels like we're in neutral. I can understand that from a fan perspective. And I think Mike Tomlin's a great coach. And if the Steelers let him go or they make a mutual understanding or whatever, how they're going to phrase it, I think wherever he goes, he's going to crush it because he's going to be able to take a franchise that hasn't been good for a while and make them good.
If your coach would immediately become the top coaching candidate, if you release him, don't release him. That said, one thing Mike Tomlin is not doing well is getting his receivers to play football. They brought in Chase Claypool.
Yeah.
Traded him because he wasn't trying. Deontay Johnson, not trying a few weeks ago, right? This week, George Pickens not making an attempt to block that could have sprung a touchdown. So they've brought in guys who are not willing to do the dirty work to help their team at the wide receiver positions. Now, is that Tomlin? Offensive coordinator. All I think the Steelers need a quarterback and they need a real offensive coordinator, and they'll be a competitive football team again. Now, if they want to get rid of Tomlin, I'm not going to stop them because he's going to go somewhere else and, like you just said, crush it. But he doesn't have a QB. You can be the best head coach on earth, and if you don't have a serviceable quarterback. And they were kind of making it work with Pickett, and they were not getting much from Pickett. And I think that is a testament to doing a good job coaching. Like Belichick's probably out of New England because they haven't found the quarterback since Brady.
Well, Belichick, I think, also gets more heat because it's the GM aspect that's tied to him. He has a little too much power. Right? It's just like, dude, it's just too much. Like, you could show you're a great head coach because that defense is still good. I mean, again, talk about that Chiefs game. Like, that first half was very, very close. Like, and then the Chiefs walked away with it. But in terms of, like, the power, if you can't get rid of Belichick, the GM, without getting rid of Belichick, the head coach, that's where it gets a little... Ugh. I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants wind up drafting a QB. I wouldn't be surprised.
No, that shouldn't surprise anybody.
No, I think they're...
Did you guys watch Daniel Jones this year?
Yeah, no.
It's a 2-year deal, too. It's like they can get away from it. Yes, do it. I don't care. I want to be blown away by my QB. I want to know that every single quarter I got a chance to watch a touchdown pass.
Fair. It's fair. Brock Purdy had himself a game. CMC had himself a game.
Yeah, did Brock Purdy separate himself as the MVP?
He said CMC should get it, which is what I've been saying.
Yeah, but that's what a nice QB says.
That is very, very true. That is very true. Yeah, they did. They swept the West.
Oh, did you see Rashad Mendenhall's tweet, Tom?
The responses to that tweet were some of the funniest things I have seen. Yeah. Because Rashad Mendenhall was talking about how he's fed up with a whole bunch of white guys talking about football that don't know what they're talking about. And I was like, okay, he's just talking about the media, I'm assuming, right?
Right.
But then the tweet goes, nay, the Pro Bowl should be segregated between an all-black and an all-white bowl so they can see who's good at football. And it says I'm better than your GOAT. Your response was fantastic.
Yeah. So, dude, I was sitting on the toilet when I read this. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he said this.
That'd be interesting.
And then I was like, you know what? I actually kind of want to see this. I want to see this. And then I started really thinking about it. And I go, there's two big flaws here. The obvious one is, who the fuck's going to play corner on the white football team?
Wasn't that like news breaking when the Broncos drafted a
Riley Moss? We got one corner and that's it. And he's basically playing special teams, Tom. So that's the one big problem. The other one also nose tackle. How many white nose tackles are there? There's not too many.
I think what makes this tweet so unexpected is one, the direction it went in.
Yeah.
But it's also like, this is a peak off-season tweet.
Yeah,
like,
this is what you do in May, Rashard.
In the dead of May, June, July.
Yeah.
And it's like, blah, 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 blah. When people aren't really... This is like 3 weeks away from the playoffs.
Will and I are 100% making this video. But here's the advantage. Kicker. I got a lot of choice of kickers as the leader of the white team. Although when he said average white guys commenting on football, I really felt like he was singling you and I out.
That's what I said. Like, I thought he was talking about like the media. I was just like, oh, like all these talking heads, guys with podcasts, whatever. Yeah. And I was like, okay, that's fair. Like that's valid. All right. Yeah. And then it's just like, because when he said you're not good at football, I was like, he's talking about white guys? I was like, I think he's just talking about the media. But then he's like, no, I want all black team versus all white. And I was like, he's just like really hitting that home. Okay.
Yeah, it is hilarious.
I think I take Purdy first, 100%. Howell maybe, then Pickett, and then I don't draft anybody else. And I just, start a kicker as a QB. That's probably Purdy has to go 1 though.
Purdy is 1, easy. Yeah, I think Howell's my backup.
Yeah. Then you go like Pickett, Zappy, Ritter around there, potentially. Oh yeah, no, Getsy needs to go. 100% needs to go. Real quick, Dolphins did stomp the ever-living crap out of them. Tua had a phenomenal game, dude. They had 3 incompletions, 224 yards, had a tutty as well.
And he did it without Tyreek Hill,
no
right?
Tyreek Hill.
Oh,
and again, like
Tua can play QB.
Waddle, he had the day 8
that they have like the exact near clone of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle when he's healthy.
That's fair. I mean, but to that point, he gets but that's been Tua's whole career.
Yeah.
Right? But that was before he even got drafted. They were like injury prone, gonna get hurt. And then he did get hurt through like no fault of his own. And I think that narrative never went away. And you know how I like can justify that? Because a week ago, when Fox put out their little like Christmas skits of all that, and there was like a character people thought it was me from the back of like the Packers fan, they also made a Tua joke about hoping that he stays healthy. And Tua's been fine this season. But that narrative is still it's exhausting, it's tiring, and it's still here in a season where he's had a great year. So it's just like the constant narratives that never go away and are perpetuated by the media over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, where is... I thought I retweeted the quarterback stat. But like the only quarterbacks who have played... There's only 6 QBs who've started all season.
Yeah.
Tua's one of them.
Yup.
Injury prone. Lamar Jackson.
They could
injury prone. He's the other one. Started all year. Russell Wilson. Patrick Mahomes. Jordan Love.
Yeah, Jordan Love.
Who's 6? There's one more guy and Josh Allen. Those are the 6 QBs who've started. I guess Brock Purdy in there. No, did Purdy miss a game?
I don't remember, to be honest.
Did we have Sam Darnold start a game for them?
I think for like maybe once. I don't remember.
I can't remember. But the amount of quarterbacks who Goff did it. Maybe there's more than 6. Maybe there's 8.
But like
Anyway.
this is again, and this was I think Pern and I were talking about this, and we definitely even brought this up during the charity stream. There's so many people who are because I there was like that 10-minute clip with Cam Newton, and I definitely agree with some of the stuff that he was saying, but I just feel like right now there are so many people just trying to get a quote unquote viral clip or whatever, and like talking crap about some random player, and then that player comes back and they wind up like kicking ass. And it's just like, this is what happens every single week, right? It's like Dak Prscott, MVP. And you could be like, yeah, he still, even after yesterday, right? You can't take away he's had a very good season. But also, the defense of the Cowboys crapped the bed yesterday. Their offense couldn't do anything against the Bills either. But they crapped the bed. So it's a week-to-week league. It 1,000,000% is. So, no, you can't.
9 QBs. 9 QBs.
There you go. You can't. Chicago's defense has gotten a lot better. And I want to talk about that Cleveland-Chicago game because that game was on like all the drugs as well. The Texans-Titans game definitely was too. But dude, the Bears lost that game in the most Bears-like fashion. Almost won it with a Darnell Mooney Hail Mary. And then before that, like Joe Flacco, what did he throw? 3 interceptions? Like he was like hot trash in the beginning. Like Flacco was like, oh, here comes Joe Flacco again. And then there was that throw to Amari Cooper.
Yeah, that was...
Oh my God. That went for a TD.
Yeah.
Just talk about threading the needle.
Yeah. Whew. Dude, you can't count out Flacco unless he's the Broncos quarterback. I saw too on Good Morning Football. Flacco has 7 road playoff wins, and that ties Tom Brady is the most road playoff wins.
That's pretty crazy.
So like, yeah, you don't want to count him out. Flacco's thrown enough interceptions. He's not going to let it get to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Barks just say 200 yards in the 4th quarter for Flacco. Dude, Jake Browning versus Joe Flacco in the playoffs. That could be a game.
No, I want to see Joe Flacco go against the Ravens. I just want to see it. Because like, I think just like,
yeah, I do too.
That story, dude. Because right now, you know what we're seeing? Potential Matt Stafford. Yeah,
Matthew if
Stafford,
those 2 games happen on
Lions.
the same playoff weekend, holy crap. Holy crap.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, dude, the storylines heading into this postseason are going to be so effing good. And we are seeing, like, backup QBs like bringing their team there. You know, like Flacco put the team in the hole too. He's throwing picks, which are really not great. But then he's like, totally redeem yourself. Yeah. That's the way that it's going. And their defense is so good. And like, you could understand the Browns being like, this is what we've been working with. We know what we have in the defense. If Nick Chubb is healthy and like everything like that, we just need a quarterback. And like, they sold their soul for Deshaun Watson. And obviously that has not gone well. But they legitimately are a QB away. Yeah,
when you sell your soul, it usually doesn't work.
It usually doesn't.
No. You can sell your picks, like the Rams, but...
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's just... The Bears now, like, they're still technically could go to the postseason. They can't win the division, but, like, they could technically still go to the postseason. But that's a tough loss for them. And I think you got to give them credit for sticking around with the Browns and almost winning that game too.
Here's another Super Bowl narrative. If the 49ers get there and say by chance they play the Bengals, you've got the Mr. Irrelevant versus an undrafted QB in the Super Bowl. There's no way that's ever happened. Oh my God.
I figure it's the Broncos one. It's still the Broncos because they got it. The Broncos one got it. It was like, oh my God.
And then we couldn't get the 2-point play.
Yeah.
Which there was pass interference and it wasn't called.
Oof. Yeah, listen, I don't like the Vikings, obviously. I don't want to watch the Vikings play football.
Yeah.
Like,
Nick
I just
Mullins is the weirdest He had the weirdest game I've ever seen a quarterback have. He made some of the dumbest throws that you can make. One, that B.J. Hill interception, threw it right to his face mask while B.J. Hill's on the ground, falls to him. Also, when he's falling, he shouldn't throw the ball. Just chucks it up and completes it to Jordan Addison. the most fun QB to watch and the most painful quarterback to watch in the same, sometimes on the same play.
Dude, him like falling down and getting sacked and just like chucks it to the defender. It just hits him in the chest.
Like it was not a good, it looked like not a great decision to start him over Josh Dobbs. But, and then, you know, the Vikings also lost. And then there were some players like, okay, I can see why they did. And then they're like, no, why? But Vikings are just cycling through quarterbacks, trying to stay alive.
And their defense has gotten, Brian Flores really has transferred. They were just blitzing an insane amount of times. And it's they're finding success with it.
It worked for Denver when they were winning. Yeah. It's like we kind of got this thing where you thought you couldn't blitz and be successful because guys like Allen or Mahomes or Rodgers would pick you apart. But I think it depends on your opponent. Depends on how you disguise some of those blitzes. And Brian Flores has done a great job with the Vikings defense. But this to me is it's another Jake Browning stat. Vikings, great defense. They've got playmakers in the passing game, and they're trying to find a guy. Whereas the Bengals, they got a guy who's getting the ball to those playmakers. And another thing that's kind of lost, like Jamar Chase, didn't he leave the game with that shoulder injury? And that's Jake Browning just started going to T. Higgins. So, yes, I still love Jake Browning, is my point.
The AFC South, I mean, legitimate. Because here's the thing. I think why the AFC South gets a lot of disrespect is because a lot of the times when they are put on prime time and like the national media, like everybody's seeing them, it usually doesn't go well, right? Yeah. Like the Texans have 0 primetime games. They're exciting because of CJ Stroud, right? And they've kind of been getting, I would say, the majority of the press. The Colts, there was a lot of buzz and excitement for them, but then Anthony Richardson got hurt, and then I feel like the media was like, the national media I'm talking about, there's like, we don't care anymore. Because, dude, they went on a 4-game win streak, and like nobody talked about it.
Yeah.
Right?
And the Colts, it's like they missed the prime of Minshew mania. You know?
Yes. They've
missed the prime Minshew mania, and Gardner Minshew's been doing enough to keep the Colts competitive and in games. He just has like the 1 or 2 bad plays every week. You just kind of live with it. But for the most part, pretty smart with the ball. They make enough plays, and they've been doing it with a lot of backup guys. Like they lost Zach Moss. So Jonathan Taylor's out. No Zach Moss. And then it's Goodson. Goodson's the running back. He's tearing it up. DJ Montgomery, from the XFL, making plays for them late in that game. So it's hard when it's a lot of guys you don't know as well. And I got a little mad on Saturday because I wanted to tweet something about how the Colts are going to be probably one of the most exciting teams to watch in 2024 when Anthony Richardson comes back and is with Shane Steichen in that offense.
Yep.
And I wanted to make a point about like how good of a job I thought Shane Steichen was doing. But I was in the middle of working out, and I was like, I'll get to it. And then I saw fucking Coleman tweet something identical, and I'm like, now I can't do it. Now they're just gonna think I'm copying Brett.
Well,
but it's like Steichen's done a hell of a job.
Pittman is there, like Pittman finally, because they drafted him for that, has finally emerged like as that guy. Because they have desperately they got Pierce, they're trying to make him the guy, but Pittman really has emerged as a really good threat. And like when you get Anthony Richardson back, like it's gonna be a lot of fun. And real quick, I'm so sorry, but like the Jaguars, when they've been put on primetime too, the Jaguars, I think it's very safe to say, have been very disappointing this year.
Yeah,
I think because I'm there now because their offense, the buzz, Calvin Ridley, the kind of expectations for the Jaguars after last season were insanely high, and that's not on the Jaguars, right? But at the same time, their offense never really clicked to the point where like, damn, that's where they should be. Their defense has been solid all year, hasn't looked that great the past few weeks, but like that was been the thing. When they lost to the Bengals, led by Jake Browning, and I know Trevor got hurt at the end of the game, but they were struggling the rest of that game too. And like that's been the disappointing. You're like, oh. So I think that's altogether is why the AFC South is viewed or disrespected, if you will. And they've been bad for years.
Yeah. I think Trevor Lawrence is not playing as well as he should be playing. Last night's game was a good example of that. And then also in the South there, the win the Texans got this week is huge. Case Keenum comes in, right? They don't have CJ Stroud. That game got wild. That game was really entertaining in the fourth quarter. So the Texans getting that win, they'll get CJ Stroud back because he was in concussion protocol. He should be good to go this week. So then I started to write the Texans off because of the Stroud injury, and I just thought they were going to lose to the Titans this week.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't. Case Keenum was not good, but he did enough to get them the win, made plays when they needed him to. So, yeah, the battle for the top of that division is crazy. And Trevor Lawrence, to me, last night, they missed 2 field goals. The Jags killed them. And then the fumble Lawrence had when they were in the red zone, just one of the silliest
turnovers have been bad for Lawrence.
And then right before halftime, they get up to the 4-yard line. They don't clock it, and then Trevor Lawrence throws a pass inbounds to his guy who gets tackled, and they don't even get to run a playoff. So 4 times they were in a position to score, and they just didn't do it. And that last one you put on Lawrence, the fumble you put on Lawrence, and then your kicker's got to make those kicks. Sorry, McManus, but those are 2 kicks. That game's different if they score there. So it's it feels like one of those seasons for the Jags. And I don't think they're going to get into the playoffs at this point.
It's the growing pains. And I've been doing it every week. All right, let's hope the offense gets there, because it's just they'll do well, but it's not they should be doing better. And Chris, to your point, yes, but that's what we're talking about, creating media narratives of that's why the AFC South is not going to be respected, because the Jaguars have been leading it for the majority of the year. And when they go on primetime, it's ugly. And they're this is the leader of the AFC South right now. That's how narratives get created. Yeah. So, that's where you get the disrespect from. The Titans game and the Texans game was absolutely insane. And Titans fans, you just have to be so damn frustrated. You do what you do to the Dolphins, right? That game's insane. And then this game happens without CJ Stroud. So that's got to be frustrating as hell. And dude, the Panthers, I know everyone wants to talk about the crowd. That was an ugly game. Tickets going for 50 cents. There's 6,000 people there. And the Panthers got to win. It was a walk-off field goal, literally on the 1. They do. And for the Falcons, dude, Falcons, this is rock bottom now. It's rock bottom.
They need a quarterback. Atlanta needs a QB. That's all it really comes down to.
But Arthur Smith is not that great either. It might just be, you're talking about Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, right? And the team, the Broncos, will choose Sean Payton over Russell Wilson. They will. Just with what they gave up to give him and all that great stuff. But Atlanta might just be, they have so many playmakers, and it's so frustrating that they're just never utilized.
That's why I think Arthur Smith deserves a chance with a quarterback that's not Desmond Ridder, who specifically in the red zone just makes way too many mistakes. But if they fire Arthur Smith, I won't be surprised either. You know what I mean? But they need a QB.
And they got 1 last year. And the only reason they got 1 is because it was potentially for the Packers to go to the postseason. True story. But
give me Justin Fields in hot Atlanta, baby.
It'd be interesting. It would be
Justin Fields, Arthur Smith, Atlanta. Let me see it happen.
Yeah, talk about LaFleur. Joe Barry is getting all this heat, and he should. He needs to go. It's also some of the personnel that is on the Packers defense. But LaFleur 1,000,000% deserves criticism, because he's hiring these people, and that's LaFleur, I think, is a good head coach. I think has made very questionable decisions at times, whether it's starting certain guys, especially along the O-line, or going with guys like Joe Barry. But yeah, the Packers, they're because if they lose to the Panthers, Joe Barry will get fired. I have to believe that Joe Barry's getting fired at the end of the season. I have to believe it, because if he does not, and if he's still there, I will then have zero faith in Matt LaFleur. And I mean that wholeheartedly with my chest. I mean it, because if you watch this Packers defense, it is the same shit every single year. They go on a nice little run. Oh man, they're good. And then they revert to the same crap over and over and over again. And I'm so tired of watching it. Like, it is just so frustrating. It's like, oh, but you know what? We'll draft another defensive guy in the first round again, and then they won't be utilized, right? Or then their talent will be wasted, or they'll be in the wrong scheme. And it's like, cool. We're just going to watch this again. And it's so effing frustrating, dude.
Yeah,
I
that's
hate
fair.
watching the Packers defense.
No, that's fair. They'll make a change. They know.
And that's what I'm saying. It's gotten to the point where last year, I didn't think you should not have brought him back this season.
Yeah.
But now, like, it's too loud. There's no way, and then it's going to start being like questionable about.
But this was probably a good season to give a guy like Joe Barry, one more chance. You're trying to figure out basically if Jordan Love is your guy.
Sure.
And we do have we overreact as fans to when we want changes, specifically with people getting fired and or cut, and giving the guy a little extra time to just make sure to see, hey, last year maybe there's like a couple things we like. Let's see if you can build on that. And he did not build on it. So now you know for sure. I think you got your QB. Now you just need a defensive coordinator. And you'll be all right. But like when the Broncos gave Fangio a third year, even though they could have easily fired him, I'm like, I think that's the right thing to do. I thought we wanted Vance Joseph fired after 1 year. They gave him a second year. I was fine with that. Like, I think you got to give coaches a little bit of time because there's so many things that you got to consider.
Of course. But so to your point,
but
Brandon,
for sure, and I agree, like Joe Barry's ain't the dude. He just ain't it.
But okay, dude, I'm sorry, but dude, we knew he wasn't the guy. Like, and that's not like fan, like, like armchair GM. Last year proved like definitively he wasn't the guy. And I completely agree with you because the Packers looked at this season and were like, whatever happens, right? It's all about evaluation, development, all that great stuff. However, you're talking about a new DC coming in, trying to implement their scheme, trying to like build that rapport, all that great stuff. That takes time. This year could have been used for that. And so when Joe Barry is ultimately fired, it's basically starting at square one again with the defense and going, all right, let's see. And this is true because look at Vic Fangio earlier this year. Allowed 70 effing points and then cleaned it up, right? Like there's those bounce backs that can happen, but dude, like DCs also need time. Joe Barry's time has come and hopefully is now gone. And there's no disrespect to him as a person. I'm sure he's great. Still someone's losing their job. Don't take that seriously, but legitimately accountability, he needs to be gone now. And again, that's still saying there are guys on the team on that defense that also need to be gone. Like I love him. Devondre Campbell has had a rough season. Darnell Savage in that current scheme has had a rough season, and he's had a rough go of things. So there's guys that you could point to that go, okay, yeah, like we need to make a change because this defense was supposed to be top 5, top 10 for about 3 years now. And they're just not getting there.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, if you saw what the Bills did, you're just running on the Cowboys all day. All day until it proves that it doesn't work. So, Perna, tonight you got the Eagles and Seahawks. What do you got?
I think Philly. Do we know if Jalen Hurts is playing yet?
I think he is.
Yeah.
I think he
is.
As
long as Jalen Hurts is playing, yeah, I got the Eagles.
Steelers are officially starting Mason Rudolph on Saturday, by the way. Trubisky's not the starter.
So I'll take whoever is playing against the Steelers in that one.
What do you got coming out today?
Nothing. I'll be working on winners and losers. That'll be up tomorrow morning. Maybe a short or two. I'm going to try and get a short out today.
I think KOC is pretty good. Like, even what he did last year, too. I think he's...
Who's Cock?
Kevin O'Connell. Yeah. No, I think keep him. And I'm not saying as a Packers fan, like, keep... I think the Bears should definitely keep Luke Getsy, 100%. Yeah. But, no, I think KOC is pretty good. I think he's pretty solid. Texans maybe, Buccaneers maybe.
Yeah, I think the Colts can win a game in the playoffs,
depending on who they play.
I keep thinking the Colts are gonna like shit the bed, and they don't. So I think the Colts can win. I would take the Texans or the Colts over the Jags right now. I'll tell you that much.
Ooh. All right. I mean,
maybe
these. I mean, Goody said after the season had that press conference, and he said we thought the defense was going to be able to prop us up as our offense figured it out. Guess what? Hasn't happened. I don't know if he'll say ultimatum, but something's got to change.
Yeah.
I
just want to answer this real quick.
Okay.
I just think Arthur Smith deserves a chance with a good quarterback. I saw Arthur Smith get the best out of Ryan Tannehill. And sure, maybe the play calls are bad. But when you don't have an effective QB, every play call looks like garbage. But I understand why Falcons fans want him gone as well. Need a QB, though.
Hey, you know what game Desmond Ridder looked really good in?
Against Packers?
the effing Packers.
Yeah.
Fire Joe Barry. It's done now. It's no more. No mas. If the NFL was scripted, we're coming out in the next few hours. Got to write that bad boy and film that. Then tonight I'll be streaming Monday Night Football, and every NFL fan's reaction to Week 15 will be dropping as well. Next Monday, I don't think I'm going to be able to do scripted because there's 3 games on Christmas. So I'm probably going to have to do it on Tuesday. Everything's going to get pushed today, which is going to suck.
I'm condensing what I do next week.
Yeah, it's going to suck.
It's a stupid schedule.
Yeah. The night game will be good, though. The night game. But, folks, we appreciate you watching. We had over 6,000 people in here watching live. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. But, folks, thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. This is GPS. And you have been navigated.
And you've reached your destination. And thank you for all 11 of you that stuck around on Instagram as we experimented.
Let's go.